Long before the dawn of civilization, before the first cities rose from stone, there was another story, half lost in time, buried in layers of earth and bone. This is the story of Homo Heidelbergensis, our ancestor, our builder, our forgotten kin.
In this ancient world lived Homo heidelbergensis, an archaic human species. They thrived roughly 600,000 to 200,000 years ago across Africa, Europe, and possibly parts of Asia. First identified in 1908 by German anthropologist Otto Schoetensack. He studied a 500,000-year-old jawbone, the Mauer mandible, found near Mauer, Germany. The name Heidelbergensis comes from Heidelberg, the nearest city to the discovery site. This fossil and many others show Homo heidelbergensis was a widespread and adaptable hunter-gatherer. Their roots stretch deep into Africa, emerging from a lineage that began with Homo erectus. By 800,000 years ago, a new hominin appeared, taller, more robust, with a larger brain. Homo heidelbergensis lived between Homo erectus and later humans. They lived during a time when glaciers changed habitats dramatically. Some experts call H. heidelbergensis a candidate for the common ancestor of modern humans and Neanderthals. As glacial periods came and went, Homo heidelbergensis moved northward. Europe would test their endurance with its harsh climates. Known for using Acheulean tools, they crafted long bifacial hand axes and cleavers. These tools were versatile, used for processing wood, preparing plants, and large animal remains. Some hand axes measured over 2 feet, indicating tasks requiring strength and precision. Their tools were more refined than earlier species. Thinner, sharper, crafted with care. To survive the cold, they developed new strategies: spears, seasonal movement, fire. Sites like Boxgrove in England show organized processing of large animals. At Terra Amata in France, traces of shelters suggest planned camps and group cooperation. In Germany, the Schöningen site revealed the world's oldest known wooden spears. Nearby layers held large animal bones and tools, showing group hunting. These discoveries reflect advanced thinking and coordination. Fire use was likely essential, with burned tools and ash layers hinting at controlled use. They consumed a range of animals and were also foragers of roots, grasses, and possibly medicinal plants. Strong and adaptable, Homo heidelbergensis thrived as apex hunters in a challenging Ice Age world. A brain capacity near our own, strong limbs, a body designed for endurance. Skeletons and reconstructions suggest they were tall and powerful. Male Homo heidelbergensis averaged around 5 feet 7 inches to 6 feet 0 inches, 170 to 183 centimeters in height, with stocky muscular bodies adapted to the cooler climates of Ice Age Europe. Their bones were thick and heavy. Compared to Homo erectus, they had relatively short, broad limbs, a build that conserves heat and strength. Despite their rugged build, their brains were as large as ours, on the order of 1,200 to 1,300 cubic centimeters, similar to modern human averages. With such brains, they had the potential for complex behavior. Their appearance would have been wild and imposing to our eyes. Receding foreheads, no chin, jutting jaws, and huge cheekbones. Their teeth were large but slightly smaller than earlier hominins, indicating a diet that included cooked meat rather than raw tough plants only. The combination of their large brain and robust body gave them abilities that earlier humans didn't have. In fact, some scholars argue that Homo heidelbergensis was the first human ancestor to routinely hunt big game, using sophisticated tools and possibly fire. Their tools were refined, symmetrical, purposeful. These were not mindless primitives. They lived in groups, cared for the weak, and passed down knowledge. This behavior implies a complex social life. Homo heidelbergensis likely lived in extended family groups or small bands. They cooperated to hunt and gather, showing patterns of coordinated group hunting. These humans cared for each other, helping even injured individuals. They made seasonal camps with shelters, planning movements, and sharing tasks. They likely made clothing from animal hides to keep warm in chilly climates. The use of red ochre hints at symbolic activity, perhaps for rituals or communication. Cima de los Huesos might be the first human burial ground, suggesting ritual or deeper meaning. Their vocal anatomy and genetic clues suggest they were capable of a wide range of sounds. It's plausible they had a basic spoken language to convey ideas and plan hunts. Homo heidelbergensis was socially sophisticated, with division of labor and shared food. Their technological achievements imply close cooperation, traits of an intelligent society. From Heidelbergensis came many descendants: Neanderthals in Europe, Denisovans in Asia, even us. In the grand story of human evolution, Homo heidelbergensis bridges key chapters. It probably evolved out of older Homo erectus in Africa around 800,000 to 900,000 years ago. By about 700,000 years ago, they had spread into Europe, carrying the late Acheulean tool tradition with them. From there, different branches emerged. In Africa, populations of Homo heidelbergensis likely continued evolving. Some paleoanthropologists refer to these African fossils, like the famous Broken Hill cranium, as Homo rhodesiensis, but others include them in H. heidelbergensis. These African Heidelbergenses are believed to be on the direct line to modern humans. In Europe, H. heidelbergensis populations gradually gave rise to the Neanderthals. For decades, researchers argued that H. heidelbergensis, around 500,000 years ago, was the last common ancestor of our lineage and the Neanderthals. As NHM researcher Chris Stringer explains, until recently, many paleoanthropologists argued that H. heidelbergensis existed about 500,000 years ago and was probably the last common ancestor of our species, H. sapiens in Africa and H. neanderthalensis in Eurasia. In other words, Heidelbergensis was the major trunk from which two new branches, Neanderthals and humans, would grow. They live on in us. Fragments of their DNA remain. However, the picture is now understood to be more complex. Multiple hominin species coexisted and intermingled in the Middle Pleistocene. For example, DNA from the Cima de los Huesos fossils, Atapuerca, Spain, shows those 430,000-year-old individuals were very early Neanderthals or near Neanderthals, indicating that some European Heidelbergenses were already on the Neanderthal path by then. Meanwhile, in Africa, the emergence of modern humans began earlier than thought. Recent dating of the Kabwe, Broken Hill skull in Zambia, a classic African Heidelbergensis specimen, gave an age of about 299,000 years ago. This was surprising because it overlaps with the oldest known Homo sapiens fossils, around 300,000 years ago, in Morocco and Ethiopia. It means that H. heidelbergensis as a population persisted in Africa at the very time Homo sapiens was just beginning. In short, our evolutionary tree wasn't a single straight line, but a busy, branching orchard of species. Each new discovery challenges what we know. Were they the first to speak, to mourn, to wonder? Mauer 1, the Heidelberg jaw, discovered in 1907. This fossil defined Homo heidelbergensis, dating back 600,000 years. The Broken Hill skull, found in 1921, now African Heidelbergensis. New dating shows it lived around 299,000 years ago. Atapuerca's Cima de los Huesos, early Neanderthals, 430,000 years ago. Boxgrove, England, reveals the oldest human bones in Britain. Each site adds to the fossil puzzle, revealing secrets of evolution. As dating improves, our story keeps changing. Homo Heidelbergensis still has secrets to reveal. In this family tree diagram, Homo heidelbergensis is shown around the middle of the human timeline. It's positioned as the likely ancestor of both Neanderthals and us, Homo sapiens. Many of our features trace back to this species. Homo erectus gave rise to Homo heidelbergensis roughly 700,000 to 800,000 years ago. Then, around 500,000 to 400,000 years ago, the European branch morphs into Neanderthals, while the African branch gradually becomes early Homo sapiens. These lineages coexisted for a time. It was a web of overlapping species. Homo heidelbergensis sits at a transitional crossroads. In Europe, it became Neanderthals. In Africa, it became us. Today, we see its influence in our brains, our bodies, and our behaviors. They walked the earth before history began, and without them, there would be no us.